My 31-year-old female boyfriend 29-year-old male told me I eat like shit and don't exercise. My 31-year-old female boyfriend 29-year-old male told me I eat like shit and don't exercise. I'd like to preface this with the fact that I weigh 63 kilograms, 173-year-old male cm tall and have a BMI. 21-year-old female my boyfriend is constantly giving me snarky remarks that is really putting me off. The other day he commented on the fact that I eat like shit and don't exercise and am still skinny. I'm starting to think he thinks very little of me. I do all the cooking in the house. If I tell him I need a night off from cooking, he orders in pizza. I am a very good cook and love to experiment. I don't see what I cook as being unhealthy at all. I love Asian-inspired dishes. So for example, I might make a Thai rice noodle stir-fry, loaded with veggies, or bao buns with slow-cooked pulled pork, with homemade slaw, or grilled chicken with sour cream and chive risotto, or creamy garlic and prawn linguine, or slow-cooked lamb shanks with red wine sauce and mashed potatoes. You get the idea. I go above and beyond with cooking because as a child I grew up with an alcoholic single mother, who didn't provide us kids with food. I remember having to eat butter on its own, and making my own bread from flour and water because there was literally nothing to eat. So now food is one area that I will not skimp on. He loves my cooking and will always have double the serving size of myself. Other than dinner, I eat pretty standard I think. Maybe a couple pieces of toast for breakfast, or scrambled eggs, a chicken salad wrap for lunch. Rarely have fast food. When it comes to exercise, I ride horses, and anyone who also rides can tell you that it is most definitely exercise. He is one of those who claims the horses do all the work, so doesn't see it as exercise at all. I used to be very into the gym, but we have recently moved, and I can't afford a second gym membership until my first membership, in the old town, has finished. Additionally, I work with horses, reproductive biologist. It's hard outdoor field work. So, in my eyes, yes I exercise. He runs around 10 kilometers 3x times a week, and goes toth G2-year-old male 3x a week. He has stated that considers himself to be in the top 4% fittest people on the earth, to which I howled with laughter at. No idea where he got that number from. He's fit, but not that fit. How red are these red flags? Edit. For those of saying I have a good metabolism, blessed genetics, can eat what I want. I think you missed my point. That's not the case at all. I work hard and exercise. I'm not losing weight. I'm not gaining weight. My caloric output is balanced. If I stopped exercising I would most definitely gain weight. If I ate less I would lose weight. My fiancé, 25F, is sexually unattracted to me, 27 meters. Should I break off the wedding? Hi y'all. This about me, 27 meters, and my fiancé, 25F. Some backstory. We met in college, when she was a freshman and I was a sophomore. Have been together since, and have gone through our share of ups and downs. Sex was fantastic for the first few years. She was an athlete and I was a gym guy, so there was lots of sexual tension to go. Now, natural, intimate sex is gone unless I bother the shit out of her and point out how we've gone weeks to months. Nothing I've tried has worked. This has been happening for the latter part of 2 years. Her thoughts on lingerie are, we grew out of that. She is only 25. The fuck do you mean we grew out of it? The cracks began to show when we were having Audie's agreement about this, and I point blank asked if she was unattracted to me. I said I wasn't mad. Booty needed her to be honest so we can set expectations for the relationship. She blurted out she thinks she is asexual. I mentioned that I'm fine with that, but I need sex and maybe we should consider the possibility that I'm allowed to fuck other people, safely, to fill that void. Let's say it did not end well lol. Next is the sex toys. Again no shaming, but she hides it and is embarrassed by a vibrator that she herself bought. I've asked if we could incorporate during intimacy, but that was shot down. This follows it up that when I was cleaning up a mess offers and putting her stuff away, in her work bag I found the vibrator? Just straight weird. It's the female equivalent of me carrying a pocket pussy in the bag that is often a few feet from my boss. She knows sex is important to me, however I think she is just stringing this along as she can. Anytime I bring it up she gets embarrassed, and either gets angry or cries or both. What do? I am in a sexless relationship at 27 with someone who is physically unattracted to me. No kids. I've got an appointment with a shrink. I'm going to also get some advice from her as well. I make very good money and have a great living situation, so I believe she is taking advantage of me. But perhaps I've been blind and only now waking up. I 20-year-old female am pregnant and my boyfriend 24-year-old male doesn't think it is his. For context, we have been dating for 2 years and Dave been having discussions of marriage prior to this incident. Our timeline was for a wedding sometime in 2024. We both make 6 figures and have quite a large sum saved up for a wedding, future house, and had already started discussing what that transition would look like for us. We haven't been using protection but had a discussion where we agreed that if we accidentally got pregnant we would keep the baby and elope. Well, it happened. I just found out I am pregnant, but when I told my boyfriend, he didn't believe me that it was his. He insisted that was impossible because we have been careful about it. From previous discussions, I thought he understood that not using protection was still risky even if we were being careful about it. I have never given him a reason to doubt my loyalty. I haven't even really spoken to any guys since we started dating. I don't know why he is reacting this way. Is there any way I can prove to him that it is his baby? I know we can do a paternity test, but does the baby have to be born first? And it hurts me that he would even accuse me of something like that. Is there any way to recover from that? Edit to add. Since everyone seems so concerned about how two people under 25 can make good money. I graduated college 2 years ahead because I did running start in high school, and I am now an engineer at an aerospace company. He does a manual labor job that works off commission, and he busts his ass to bring in a lot of money. Also, when I say being careful, I mean we are being relatively careful for the way we decide to have sex. We decide not to use birth control or contraceptives, and I realize that has inherent risk. But we do time my cycle and use the pull-out method to reduce that risk. It worked pretty well until it didn't. My 26F brother-in-law, 24 meters, just confessed his feelings for me. TLDR, my brother-in-law, whom I have a sibling-like relationship with, just confessed that he's in love with me and asked me not to tell his brother. SOI, 26F, have been married to my husband, 35 meters, for 1 year. My husband and my brother-in-law, 24 meters, were never really close, as they are very different when it comes to interests and personalities. I also have an older sister that I'm not really close to, but my brother-in-law and I instantly clicked from the moment we met and developed a siblings-like relationship, or so I thought, I guess. My husband was really happy about this because he saw how much his brother, let's call him Harry, opened up to me, and he was glad he had someone he could refer to for guidance. Although I'm only 2 years older than him, I guess you could say my life is a lot more put together, so to speak, than his. So he often asks me for advice about money, career moves, and stuff like that. Long story short, a couple weeks ago I noticed Harry was acting kinda cold and distant towards me. We're running mates, and he never wanted to go on a room with me, and also he usually comes over to my and my husband's house for dinner a couple of times a week, but he always seemed to have something else that I'd do. So this morning, after a while of him acting like this, I got fed up and confronted Harry over the phone. He admitted that he hadn't been fair, Buddha needed to talk to me urgently. So he came over while my husband was at work and sat me down. Had told me he realized over the past couple of weeks that the connection he feels with me is not a brotherly connection, but rather he's in love with me. I was speechless and had absolutely no idea what to say. I felt so stupid for never picking up on the signs before. Then I kept asking myself, were there any signs? My husband and our families certainly never noticed anything weird. He rambled on for a while, but to be fair, I was too shocked to really take in what he was saying. He'd say a bunch of stuff about how he and his brother are so different and him and I are so similar, so how could I love his brother? Which makes no sense at all because I'm absolutely crazy about my husband and I would never, ever consider leaving him, let alone for Harry. I love him so much and I really have no idea where this is coming from. Sorry, I realize I'm rambling a bit, but this just happened and my jaw is still sitting on the floor somewhere. Anyway, here comes the dilemma. Harry said he doesn't care what I do with this information as long as his brother doesn't find out. I said, Harry, you know I can't promise that you've put me in a really awful spot. He said, remember where you put me, and just got up and left, slamming the door. I currently have 2 missed calls from him, but I'm not picking up. I locked myself inside with the emergency key because he has a key and I don't want them to let himself in and start trying to convince me again. What the hell do I do? I know I can't not tell my husband, not only because I think it's the right thing to do, but also because my face is a literal open book and my husband will spot right away that something is wrong the second he comes home from work. Which is in 3 hours. Any advice? Do I maybe tell him and ask him not to confront his brother about it? Or his family? I know no one in that family is ever speaking to Harry again if they find out what he did. I'm at a complete loss. Consent in a relationship, 30 meters, 29F. My boyfriend, 30 meters, and I, 29F, dating 3 months, had sex for the second time. He pulled out after approximately 30 seconds, trying to last longer, and came on me. Totally fine. He lay down next to me and started pleasuring me with his fingers. Great. Except, I had to wake up early the next morning. So I stopped him and said, I love when you touch me, but sadly it's getting late and I have to wake up early. I turned to set my alarm, and within a few seconds, he was suddenly back on top of me and inside me thrusting. It happened quickly. I froze up, it felt sudden and bad and I felt confused. After about a minute, he asked, are you okay? Would you like me to come out? To which I said, actually yes he would, thanks. I tried to explain after that this felt bad, and he said that he thought there was implied consent. Anda was trying to pleasure me. I feel bad and confused. What do you make of this? How would you feel? Please reply here rather than message, thanks. Edit. Additional detail when I stopped him to set my alarm. Look at the clock. I also said something like, I'm sad to dothis, but bed now. When he got back on top of me quickly, he whispered something like, bed? We're already in it. Before putting himself back inside me. My 32M partner is not grateful anymore for my 29F efforts. When I invest myself in a relationship, I make a lot of effort, I'm attentive and do lots of things that aren't necessary but that make his life better, and in the early relationship my partner notices everything I do, so I seem perfect and different, but then little by little my efforts become banal and normal. My attentions become the norm, and if I stop doing them I become less gratifying for him, whereas these gestures are just bonuses in a normal relationship. When I left my ex-partner, that's when he realized just how important each gesture was, but people only realize what they've got when they lose it. Is this an actual end in itself? How can I avoid this with my new partner?